Hey there and welcome. If you're getting started with programming, you'll quickly find that you need a way to manage groups of data. And today, we're diving into one of Python's most fundamental tools for exactly that, the list. So let's get right into it. So what exactly is a Python list? Well, just think of it like a simple container, kind of like a shopping list. It's a single variable that can hold multiple items all in a specific order. You can put numbers in it, words, you name it. This ability to group data together is what makes lists so incredibly useful. Here's a quick look at what we're going to cover. We'll start with how to create a list. Then we'll see how to change items, add new ones, and get rid of items you don't need anymore. After that, we'll look at how to loop through a list. And finally, we'll put it all together in one complete example.
All right, first things first, we have to start with the foundation, right? So let's see exactly how you create your very first list in Python.
Okay, looking at the code on the left. The first line creates a variable, and we're calling it fruits. It's being assigned a list, and we know it's a list because of those square brackets. Inside, we have three items: apple, banana, and mango. Then the second line simply uses the print function to show us what's inside our fruits list.
Perfect. So now we have a list, but what if you make a mistake or want to update something? Well, the great thing is that lists are changeable. You can modify them after you've created them. Let's see how to update a value using its position, or what we call its index.
Let's break this down. We start with our fruits list from before. Now look at the second line. We're targeting our fruits list, and we're using square brackets with the number 1 inside. This lets us access the second item, and remember, Python always starts counting from 0. We then set that position to a new value, orange. Finally, we print the list again to see our change.
You know, lists aren't stuck at a fixed size. They're dynamic, which means we can make them grow. So let's take a look at how to add new items to a list you've already made.
The simplest way to add an item is by using a method called append. Here, we're calling append on our fruits list, and we're giving it the value grape. This will add grape to the very end of the list. Then we print the list to see our new, longer list.
But what if you want to add an item somewhere specific, not just at the end? For that, we use insert. The insert method needs two pieces of information. First, the index where you want to add the item, in this case index 1, and second, the value you want to add, which is papaya. This will push every other item down to make room, and when we print it, you can see papaya is now our second item.
Adding items is super useful, but knowing how to remove them is just as important. You got to keep your data tidy, right? Let's go over a few different ways we can get rid of data from our lists.
If you know the exact value of the item you want to remove, you can use the remove method. Here, we're telling the fruits list to please remove the item apple. Python will find the first apple it sees and take it out. Our print statement then confirms that apple is gone.
Now, if you'd rather remove an item by its position, you can use pop. In this case, we're using pop with a 0 inside the parentheses. This targets the item at index 0, which is always the very first item in the list. When we print the list, you can see that first element has been popped right out.
And here's one more way. You can also use the del keyword. It's a bit different. You type del, and then you specify the list item you want to delete, like fruits of 1. This gets rid of the item at index 1. We then print the list to see the final result.
Okay, this next idea is a real game changer. Often, you don't want to work with the whole list at once. Instead, you need to do something with each individual item, one by one. This process is called looping, and it's incredibly powerful. A for loop is perfect for this. The first line is basically saying, for every fruit in our fruits list, let's do something. The indented line below is what we're going to do. Here, we're just going to print whatever that current fruit is. The loop automatically goes through every single item in the list and runs that print command for each one. So, a quick question for you. Looping is great for going through everything, but what if we just want to ask a simple yes or no question? Like, is a certain item even in our list to begin with? How would we check that? Well, the answer is the in keyword. This if statement is basically asking a question. Is the string apple in our fruits list? In this case, the answer is yes, so the condition is true. And because it's true, the indented code right below it gets to run, printing our confirmation message. Before we get to our final example, let's do a super quick review. To change an item, you use its index with square brackets. To add to the very end, you use append. To add at a specific spot, use insert. To remove by its name, use remove.
To remove by its position, use pop. And to go through each item, you use a for loop.
All right, it's time to put all the pieces together. Let's walk through one final example script that uses several of the techniques we've just learned all in one place.
Okay, let's trace this step by step. First, we create our fruits list, and it starts with apple and banana. Next, we use append to add mango to the end. Then we target index 0, which is apple, and change it to orange. After that, we find the item with the value banana and remove it. And finally, our for loop goes through whatever is left in the list and prints each item on its own line.
And just like that, you've got the essentials of Python lists down. You now have one of the most important tools for creating and managing data, which is at the heart of so much programming. So the only real question left is, now that you know the basics, what are you going to build?